something that I hope we all have in our hearts. I really hope we're all thinking of a better tomorrow, a healthier tomorrow, a tomorrow when our world will change, a tomorrow when we won't have those in need anymore. Everyone will be taken care of. Maybe we won't all be rich, and as I used to tell my kids when they were little and they'd say, "Mama, what'd you want for Christmas?" I said, "I want $1 million in the Cadillac, and if I can't have that, I just want you to be good." And I think we all need those sentiments. We don't need $1 million. We don't need that shiny brand new green Cadillac is what I used to ask for. What we need is a world without needs. A world where there's fresh water for everyone. God had created it that way in the beginning. A world where there's food for everyone. I've read statistics that say we throw away enough food here in America to just about feed the world. We throw it away. We let it rot. We still pay subsidies to farmers to store their grains in bins and their dairy products and different things, and they just sit there. And there are people in this world who are hungry. My hope is that someday we'll just give it away, or at least allow our farmers to sell it for as much as they can get on the open market. Sometimes it's not enough for them to live, but that's when we need to step in and help them out. That's when they're in need. And God saw a world that needed hope. God saw a world when he gave Isaiah that vision. A world that was in turmoil. A world where people were held captives. A world where what they had worked for was taken away from them. I don't know about you, but every time I pay my income tax, I feel like they're taking it away from me. And I'm sure a lot of you do too. And we think about it. We have a world that it seems like we pay for every time we go to the grocery store. For us anyway, it seems like my bill is just a little bit higher than it was last week. For the same thing or even less than what I bought last week. And I wonder why. I wonder why we can't take care of each other. I wonder sometimes why we can't respect each other. I think about even where I went and worked here in this city for so many years. How the administrators were always top priority. You let their computers go down, and I don't care where I was at, my phone would ring. And if I said, I'm at lunch, it doesn't matter. We need you now. And I think about the poor janitors that were sent and treated like they had no worth. It was just do. And then people actually had the nerve to criticize the work they did. And I thought, you have a right to criticize when you are willing to clean the bathrooms. You have a right to criticize when you don't leave dirty dishes in the sink. Where teachers were held above the teachers' aides, where people who had no idea of what even I did thought they could tell me how to do my job. And I loved all that because it's the way the world runs. And God saw that. Saw his people being mistreated. Saw his people being used. And he said, I'm going to do something about it. And he did it with hope. He said, from your very roots, I'm going to send up a new shoot, new life. I don't know about you, but in the springtime, one of my favorite things to do is watch some of the flowers come up. I like to see the little purple ones come up. They're the first ones that come up in my little garden. I like to see the little yellow ones start to bloom, and then the irises. And it gives me hope. Hope of one more year. Hope of something new and wonderful happening. And God sent us hope. He sent us hope like we weren't expecting hope. You see, when we think of hope, we think of winning the lottery. I like to tease about that a lot. If I won the lottery, I'd pay the church off and pay my house off, pay my children's houses off, and be broke in a week and a half probably. Make sure everybody who needed something got it. And I think about that. I think it's something that'll never happen because, frankly, I just don't play the lottery. But how we all have hope of doing something for somebody. At least I hope we have that hope of doing something for someone else and not just for ourselves. So we have some opportunities to hope. We have opportunities to hope for injustice to end. I hope you all are doing things like writing letters to make sure that they don't take human rights away. You know, to our congressman that maybe never listens, or to our senators, but at least writing letters to say this is what we stand for. We're hoping for a world where human rights are held for everybody. We're hoping for a world that doesn't take your medical insurance and cuts it in half or takes it away from you entirely or charges you too much for it. I don't know about all of you, but it seems to be happening to a lot of people now. We're hoping for a world where everyone has a coat. As a kid, I've gone through some winters with nothing but a light jacket, and I know how difficult it was. You put on 4 shirts and a sweater and then that light jacket and go out in the Michigan winter and see how you felt. Oh, with tennis shoes on your feet. Because that's the way life was. And you counted yourself lucky because you had 4 shirts and a sweater and a jacket and tennis shoes. Think about it. Think about a world where a kid didn't have to worry about that. Think about a world where no one went hungry. Think about a world where everyone had decent housing to live in. Maybe not the best, but decent housing to live in. Where they were warm in the winter and cool in the summer. That hope came in the form of someone who didn't demand to change the world. He came to show us how to change the world. He simply touched those who were sick, and they were healed. He simply took what people shared and fed them all. He simply listened and prayed and helped those that needed it. He did not look on the mentally ill as someone who you push to the back of the world. But look at Legion and how he cleansed him and how he sent him out. Look at the way that he set Mary Magdalene free from what they said was 7 demons. In my heart, I have a feeling it was mental illness, and how she became the first evangelist that Christ sent out. He looked at people for their potential, not for their faults. We're great to look at people for their faults. I can list all of mine. My stubbornness, I want to do things the way I want them done. I can list that. And I realize it. If I try hard, I can look at you and tell you what's wrong with you too.
Not bad.
Most of us can. But can we look at those we love and tell them what's right? Can I look at the ones I love, or even just the ones I know, and say something as simple as, your smile makes me feel better? Can we look at them and simply say, your tolerance makes me feel better? We're not good at that, and Jesus came to show us how. We have a new season upon us. You see, Advent is the new year for the church, the very beginning. It's that time when we're supposed to be looking at ourselves, looking at some of the characters in the Bible. Last week we did waiting in faith. How we wait for things. And we need to have faith that they will get better. This week we look at hope and what we hope to accomplish. What do we hope to accomplish? Keeping the doors open of the church, or letting the church grow? What is growth? Is it more people in the pews? Or is it our hearts getting a little bigger? Being willing to share a little more. Jesus came to give us that hope that our hearts would grow. We would learn to be more like Jesus. Give a little more, care a little more, pray a little more, and take care of each other. Christmas is upon us. What gifts do you want to give? What gifts are really needed? Do I need to buy a new whatever for one of my children or grandchildren who are already going to get more than they need? Or do I need to spend a little less on them and a little more on those children that will have nothing? God is here and God is now. And God looks at us, each and every one of us, and says, what are you willing to give? I gave my all. I gave myself as a child. And I grew up and I went on the cross. I went to the grave. And I came back again to show you the way. To make sure you didn't carry any of the guilt and the sin. Because I took it all. What are you willing to give? Are you willing to help one of my children? Amen.
Amen.